Okay, good morning. I'm going to have you begin, Lavette, by introducing yourself and talking about tomorrow's action, and then Courtney, I'll have you do the same.
Okay, so my name is Lavette Alexander, and I am the mother of Tyejaun Shepherd, who is currently incarcerated at the Martinez Detention Facility. He was arrested on October the 15th of this year. About a week after his incarceration, Tyejaun had called me and he had developed a really bad stutter. He's never had a stutter problem a day in his life. At first, it wasn't anything that was like really alarming. He just kind of thought that he could work it out on his own. But as I would talk to him, every single day, the stutter was getting worse. And then he started to develop like weakness in the right side of his body. And now he has memory loss now. So he cannot remember his birthday without looking at a piece of paper. He does not know what my birthday is. He does not know what his 3 siblings' birthdays are. He is forgetting who some of his closest friends are, people that he was with every single day, talked to every single day. I have to basically give a description of what they look like, how he knows them, things that they used to do. And sometimes stuff will come back to his memory, and sometimes he just completely forgets who somebody is.
How old is your son?
Huh?
How old is
my son? He's 18.
Sorry, and you were going to say more. Continue.
Yeah. So we've been just trying to push for him to get to an outside hospital. And what I mean by an outside hospital, I don't mean just take him to an outside hospital for one test and then take him back to the jail and tell him that everything is fine. Like, he needs to be admitted into a hospital for more extensive testing. He's been to an outside hospital twice. One was for a CT scan, and they took him right back. They said the CT scan was fine. And the next one was for an MRI. Took him for the MRI. They took him right back, and they're saying that everything's fine. They're basically saying that his brain functions are fine. Everything's fine. Everything is not fine. I had a Zoom call with my son yesterday evening, and I decided to record the call because hearing how he talks is one thing on the phone, and that's what I was expecting for the Zoom call. Like, okay, he's just going to look like his regular self, but he's just going to have a stutter. No. I do not recognize that boy at all. It was heartbreaking. I had to keep a smile on my face the whole time that I talked to him because I did not want him to see me upset. Once I gave his girlfriend back the phone, I just literally broke down into tears. It is so heartbreaking to see him struggle the way that he is. And it's just like, he's becoming slow, if that's the correct term to use. He's giving a thumbs up, his hands are like this, like when he's trying to talk, like he's struggling. It was just really sad and really heartbreaking to watch him like that. But I just had to keep a smile on my face and basically pretend like everything was okay, but it's definitely not okay.
It's interesting because as I was rushing home to do your interview, in the car there was a commercial about strokes and the signs to watch for. Has that been one of your concerns, that he might have suffered an early stroke or something?
That was my initial concern. That was my initial concern when I'm talking to him and he's telling me all these things that are going on with him, and then telling me, he was starting to lose the sight in his peripheral vision, and everything that he was telling me, they were all potential symptoms of a stroke. So, of course, it's like I raised my concerns, with the jail. I had even called up there one evening because it's like I had just freaking had it with them. So I spoke to a Sergeant Lopes, Lopes, and basically he was just like, his responsibility is just to keep everybody safe and to keep the inmates quo, is what he told me. He said it is up to medical staff if they want to take him to a hospital, and it's up to medical staff if they want to update me on any information. But he did say that he would have somebody from medical go and, check on him when him and I got off the phone. This was about 10 something at night. So he did indeed call a nurse's station, but he did not call the correct nurse's station. He called a nurse's station at a completely different jail. Yeah, so that did no good.
Got it.
So, yeah.
And
I
just for the logistical piece, so we can wrap our brains around this as much as you're comfortable to share, do you mind sharing why he's being detained and how long he's scheduled to be detained for? Do you have information around these things?
being detained on a murder charge is what it is. And as of right now, he does not have any bail. He was supposed to have a bail hearing a couple weeks ago, and they were setting the bail at $2 million. But the bail hearing did not go through because we had a court date the day before the bail hearing was set, and it was basically to get an update of medical information from the doctors. So we all get to court, and his lawyer is trying to get in touch with the doctors, and nobody from the medical staff wants to talk to the lawyer. They were all refusing to speak to him. So we had to take it off of calendar because there was no information. Then they were being difficult pretty much. He was told that a medical director would get in contact with him. So the person that posed as the medical director was not the medical director. It was actually the first doctor. Her name is Dr. Jessica Hamilton. She was the first doctor that ever saw my son. And she had actually made my son feel really uncomfortable. Basically asking him, like, what was he trying to get out of this? Like, he was just like playing a game. And, I've already, advised everybody there, like, I don't want her seeing my son anymore, because yes, he is forgetting his memory, but that is something that stuck with him about how uncomfortable she made him feel. And she basically, it hurt his feelings. So no medical director ever called him. It was the Dr. Hamilton. And he, as far as I know, earlier this week, he had paid to, he was going to subpoena the hospital and subpoena the jail for the medical records. So he had to pay $20 for something to in some type of form that he needed to get the medical records. So he did all that. So I need to see I don't know how fast it takes for them to, release the medical records to him, but I can find that out this morning if he's gotten anything.
And tomorrow you have an action, or on Sunday, there's an action planned. Talk about what you all are asking for and what you're hoping for, and then we'll pivot over to Courtney for a minute.
It's basically to get this kid in a hospital, to get him admitted into a hospital, and to get further treatment is what it needs. We are not wanting you guys to take him to the hospital and have a test done, and then take him back to the jail. Like, no, he needs to be seen by real professionals. He needs more extensive testing. He needs better treatment than what he's getting, because at the jail it seems like they're minimizing what's going on with him, because every time you talk to somebody, it's like, oh, he's doing great, he's doing fine, he's doing great. My son won't even go outside. He's been outside one time, and he won't go outside because he's struggling, and he's like pretty much like embarrassed because he can't do the stuff that he used to do. So he won't go outside at all. He's either waiting to have his phone call or he's just in his cell, but he refuses to even go on the yard anymore. So the action is basically to get him into the hospital. Like, we need him into an outside hospital, because it's just like, you're either going to treat him right or free him, basically. So.
Yeah, thank you. And I'm sorry you're going through that. Because we're in a pandemic, I feel like I have to ask, do you know if they've tested him and others for COVID?
I have no idea. His lawyer was supposed to find out, but since he has not gotten back to me, I'll be calling this morning and I'll get that information to you.
Thank you. I'm going to bring you in, Courtney. Introduce yourself and talk about the importance of this case and what you're able to see from your organizer lens.
Yeah, thank you. So my name is Courtney Morris. I'm an organizer with No Justice Under Capitalism. Livette attended one of our coalition calls on Monday, which is when we met her and heard the story of Tyejaun Shepherd. And I just want to start off by saying that it does not matter what crime a person may or may have not committed, but healthcare is a human right. And everybody in this country, despite the fact that out of, all industrialized developed countries, the United States least prioritizes healthcare amongst its citizenry. But it is a right, it is a human right, and incarcerated people are human beings. And so they should have just as much access to healthcare. And Contra Costa County, where Martinez Detention Facility is home to 3 jails. There's the Marsh Creek, West County, and Martinez Detention Facilities. And they historically are known for medical negligence. So while Tyejaun Shepherd's denial of healthcare access is the story of one individual, it really represents a systemic issue in Contra Costa County. In fact, they were sued by the prison law office for medical negligence and lost the suit in October, and have agreed to pay $250 million over the course of the next 5 years into jail healthcare. So I'll just copy and paste the link to that article here in the chat in Zoom for you if you'd like to post it alongside this video. But they have continuously denied care. One plaintiff in the case said that he had injuries that made walking painful, but was denied a cane for 3 months. Another incarcerated person with mental illness said that guards refused to take him to medical staff despite him repeatedly pressing an emergency medical button in his cell. And so it has been found that they have not provided medical care to folks with physical issues, mental health issues, and folks who are even suicidal in some cases. In fact, just this week, a 30-year-old incarcerated person died in Martinez Detention Facility just on Monday as this case came to light. So I will also put this link here. He was a young gentleman by the name of Ezekiel McCoy, who was allegedly in a jail fight, taken to the hospital, was cleared. He was sent back to Martinez Detention Facility. He was awaiting COVID results, and he died in the facility. Now, the guards say that they checked on him. 9 minutes later, they checked, and he was fine. 9 minutes later, they checked back, and he was dead. So it's very suspicious circumstances. So the, Alexander Shepherd family has every right to demand healthcare access for Tyejaun Shepherd, considering that his health is rapidly deteriorating, and taking into account that this is a county that has never prioritized the wellness and health of the incarcerated communities there. Their deputy sheriff just last year resigned when messages of him referring to incarcerated people as animals and vermin were leaked. There has been numerous cases of sexual abuse from guards to women. So this is a county that is known for brutality in its law enforcement. They are known for medical negligence amongst their jails. And we are demanding that Tyejaun Shepherd gets the health care that he needs. He's 18 years old. So there is no diagnosis as of yet. It is not known if this is something that is short-term, long-term. It is not known if this is a result of coronavirus. When Livette is saying these are stroke-like symptoms and you're saying the same, it is documented that they have witnessed shorter and longer-term effects of coronavirus that have led to stroke-like symptoms. And so we need answers. And so we are gathering at Martinez Detention Facility tomorrow at 2 p.m. And we will be demanding justice for Tyejaun. We will be demanding that he be released to a certified public health facility or released to his family. If the county is not going to do their job, then let him go back to his family pending trial. So that is what we will be demanding, and we hope that others can come and stand up for human rights.
Courtney, you and I talk frequently about all the issues, right? The pandemic, how mass incarceration and a lack of a connecting link to let firefighters continue to work in their craft after they're released. All the issues, you name them. We talk about decarceration, and you name that as a major necessity for going forward. So this isn't even a case of asking, this is just a case of asking for access to medical care. I would think that if somebody dies in a detention facility, that seems like a problem. For me as a human, it seems like a problem. And I would even think let's say that they only wanted to look at this from a business perspective as opposed to a human rights perspective, which we know this is a human rights issue. Why do you suspect that there's such resistance to giving incarcerated people access to medical care when it's necessary? What would be the rationale, or what have you heard?
Yeah, I would say because the people that are employed in these facilities do not view incarcerated people as equal. It would be that they do not view them as human beings, and healthcare costs money, and to deny them healthcare is to trim money off of their budgets and puts more money into, how they want to invest it. Their unions are constantly looking to fill their budgets and for more jobs, but they're not really looking to look after the incarcerated communities inside. Absolutely, great point.
Thank you. Well, I just really wanted your perspective since you're really on the ground with these issues. And do we know, Livette, when is the trial scheduled to happen as of now?
I'm not exactly sure when the trial is scheduled to happen. I know his next court date for the case is December the 7th. But I know for sure that right now his lawyer doesn't even want to continue with him because he feels that Tyejaun is not even competent enough to even continue until he gets the help that he needs. So for right now, I know it's for the 7th. And that's just basically to be determined, hopefully it'll get pushed back. The lawyer did tell me that he wanted to do something. I'm trying to look for my notebook. I had all these notes and stuff written down, throughout the week, talking to people. Hold on. Have you seen my notebook with the flowers on it?
And it's okay, Livette. Like my main reason for asking this question is really, if you're told that, like, if we had to wait till the trial is set for you to find out an update about whether or not medical care access will be given or something, then my point is just that probably puts you in a very challenging and potentially life-threatening position regarding your son.
Yeah.
So just kind of
so it was called, he said he wanted to do something called declaring doubt, which basically means he feels his client isn't competent enough to stand trial. He did say he was going to have the county pay for a neuropsych, which is also, it's a neurologist, but they are a specialist. They're not just a regular neurologist, and he was going to have the county pay for that as well. So Tyejaun also suffers from mental illness. He has basically been like this all of his life. He suffered from anxiety, which he does have really bad. They're giving him medication for it right now. Depression, emotional disturbance, PTSD. And my son is suicidal. He has scars on his arm from trying to cut himself. Tyejaun has attempted suicide since he's been at the detention facility.
I'm sorry, and I also thank you for mentioning that, because I think mental health access, and specifically for communities of color and working class folks, is and the lack of competence and the lack of compassion around and awareness around these issues is a really important point. And so I appreciate you adding that dimension to this
Yeah,
conversation.
it's basically what he was told. The neurologist told him basically like, well, your brain functions okay, like there's basically nothing wrong with you. You're just traumatized and you need to see a psychiatrist, is what he was told.
But at the same time, they're not necessarily giving them
They're
giving
not
access.
giving him correct, exactly. Yeah.
So you're asking for whatever it is, whatever needs he might have, be they physical or psychological, that he does need to have access to medical care. And
He
that's what,
needs to have access to mental care. He needs to have access to, basically the whole scope is what he needs. He needs support all the way around. And like Courtney said, it does not matter, what somebody, allegedly did. At the end of the day, he still deserves the right, to health care. I just feel like they are just letting him just wither away, is what I feel like. The very first time they came to check him out, and I guess they, were acting like they were going to take him to a hospital. My son refused. He said he refused because they were trying to take him to where the crazy people were, is what he said. Now, after I had the video chat with him, I completely understand why. Like, you guys saw the video of, I see why. You guys are thinking that, like, oh, he doesn't need to be in a hospital. He just needs to be put, in another unit with basically, the rest of the slow people. Yeah. So it dawned on me after seeing him in the video last night, like that's I understand like why he felt like that and why that's probably what they were trying to do. Like they're not taking him serious at all. This kid is so far from, being unhealthy, aside from, the mental health and stuff like that. But he is just the most charismatic, just vibrant, full of energy kid. Like there's just never been a dull moment with this boy. The whole 18 years of his life. I mean, even when I was pregnant, like I just knew he was going to be something else, So it's just really heartbreaking and really just sad to see him the way that he is. And I have to sit here and I have to pretend to smile, and so he can see that I'm happy. So he doesn't see that it's like I'm really struggling on the inside, because like I have to be strong with him, for him. I can't let him see that something's wrong, because then he's going to start to worry, and then he's going to think like, oh, like, is there something wrong with him? Like, why is she sad? Why is she acting like that? And I have to make him feel like everything is normal.
thank you for sharing this with us. Any final messages you'd like to leave listeners or viewers with?
I just would just really just support. Let's just forget that he's an inmate. Let's just forget that for one second. At the end of the day, this is a person. This is somebody's son. This is somebody's brother. This is somebody's uncle. On top of that, he is a community member. He's very well known in the community and well liked and well loved. And just, and he's only 18 years old. Just come support. We need support. We need this boy, in us, like she said, in a certified facility. And, let's just, it's just like, let's just be like respectful and mindful, of, what he's going through. Because at the end of the day, right now, my son, he doesn't want to be alive. He just told me that last night. So I'm trying to keep him alive. I'm trying to, remind him you have a reason to still be here. But I just feel like the way he feels like he's being treated, like they just don't care. It's like he'd rather be dead. That's how he's feeling, but if, people could just come out and support, you don't have to stay for the whole event. I would just be so grateful. If I don't know you, come introduce yourself. It's just, I don't mind. I'm very grateful and appreciative of the support that I've received thus far. So.
Thank you. And if people can't come to the event, is there another way that they can still support you and stay in touch with you?
Well, there is going to be a GoFundMe account that is going to be set up for Tyejaun, because right now the lawyer that he does have, he used to be a public defender, but he's not a public defender anymore, but he still gets paid by the county. We are actually going to be getting Tyejaun like a paid lawyer, like for the case, and trying to file a lawsuit. And basically, we're going to be starting a GoFundMe. So when that information is complete, you know, I can pass that information along. And then we are going to be starting, like, trying to do like a little online store, you know, in support of Tyejaun. And, you know, that's just, we have a few things up our sleeve that, you know, are going to be coming soon. So.
Thank you. And I really appreciate you sharing so many dimensions of this. I think it really shows how intersectional the issues are: mental health, incarceration, access, so many issues, racism. So I think this is a really important case, and I really appreciate you taking the time. Courtney, I wanted to give you another last chance to weigh in with anything else you'd like us to keep in mind until we talk next time.
Thank you. Yeah, I'd say also if folks want to visit our Facebook or Instagram page, No Justice Under Capitalism, you'll also find a phone zap for Sheriff David Livingston's office, who is responsible for all the jails in Contra Costa County. We have a phone script that you can read off, letting them know that we are demanding answers and demanding justice for Tyejaun Shepherd. So if you go to our social media pages, feel free to call and leave a message and let them know that there's pressure on them, because ultimately this is not an area where the actors will act alone. They will only act under legal and social pressures, right? So they have a history of medical negligence. It took them losing a lawsuit to have to invest in the healthcare of their jail systems. They will not look after the incarcerated community without that external pressure. So if you can physically show up, or if you can just make a phone call to Sheriff David Livingston, letting them know that we have folks in the community that are looking out for Tyejaun and demanding healthcare access, that would be great. I also just want to highlight another article I'll be popping in this chat, which is when a federal lawsuit came across Contra Costa County for beating a man with mental health issues. Just in July. So his name is DeAndre Bolden. He's, I believe, 30 years old. He has a history of schizophrenia, delusional disorder, and psychosis. And they beat him, 3 sheriff deputies in the county jail beat him so badly that he had black eyes and a nasal fracture, which resulted in a lawsuit. So once again, it's really hard as a county to look. Even this week, a man died. You know, in October, they settled a lawsuit for medical negligence. In July, they were hit with a federal lawsuit for beating a young black man with mental health issues inside the jail. So once again, we really need community pressure to let the sheriff know and let the county know that the way that they treat the incarcerated community there is not okay. We demand healthcare access, and we demand civility, and we demand that they do their jobs, which is protecting the incarcerated community inside, not hurting them, which is all they know. So we hope folks can show up at 2 p.m. tomorrow at Martinez Detention Facility in Contra Costa County. And if not, look out for a GoFundMe coming from Livette, and please do visit our social media at No Justice Under Capitalism and make that phone step and let them know that there is pressure on and there is accountability.
So thorough. You got to my last question before I even got there. So thank you both for taking the time. I'll share this with you and keep us posted.
Great. Awesome.
Thank you.
Take care. Bye.